It didn't start out pretty, but the Seahawks get the first win under the Mike Macdonald era. Welcome back to another episode of the Seattle Sports Show where we love Seattle pro sports. I'm your host, Mikey, and today we are here to talk about the Seattle Seahawks win over the Denver Broncos 26-20. This is our first win in the first game of the Mike Macdonald era. And as I said, as it didn't start out very pretty, there's a lot to be excited about with this team moving forward after watching this first game. I'll just kind of give you my little rundown of notes that of things I thought of during the game, and then we'll dive into the numbers of this game. Okay, so quarter one, the start of this game again was not good at all. This is not the way we wanted to see the season start. It had me very worried because the offensive line was looking even worse than expected. I mean, we start out the game with a sack, and then on the second play of the game, there's a ton of pressure, so Geno Smith throws an interception. That is not good. But here's what we were hoping to see from the defense right away from the first series on defense. I could just tell these players were flying to the ball. Okay, nobody was hesitant. Nobody was confused about where they were supposed to be or what they were supposed to be doing, or any of that. And it allowed these players to just fly to the ball in a way that I didn't see last year. Last year, I think there was just a lot of, miscommunicating, a lot of confusion, where Mike Macdonald has really preached with the way that he likes to disguise things in this scheme. It requires a lot of communication, and it seems like right away this defense is getting it. Again, throughout this first quarter, the sloppy play from the offense just continued throughout it. I mean, we had false starts. There was holding penalties. But again, that defense was strong throughout this quarter. And the offense started to show a little something. And, the first points of the Mike Macdonald era came on a field goal. And after that, Marshawn Lynch, they show him. He goes up to Mike Macdonald and he gives him a little back massage. Mike Macdonald, in the press conference after the game, was saying that Marshawn was just excited and talking to Mike about the defense. And Mike Macdonald, this is his first game as a head coach in the NFL in front of the 12s. He talked about how loud it was in there and how great it was to have, to be in that atmosphere for his first game of his career as a head coach. And he was like, "Oh, did Marshawn do that?" And he was like, "I must have blacked out. I don't even remember him massaging me." But oh yeah, he definitely did. I'm going to use it for the thumbnail for sure. But yeah. That was fun to see. I mean, and no other player. Listen, I've been following Marshawn ever since he left the Seahawks and retired from the NFL, because the dude is just entertaining and a joy to watch, no matter what he's doing. When he's on TV shows, his podcast. He just had a new podcast just come out a couple of days ago. He's got his politics podcast. He's got he's got all kinds of appearances on in TV shows and movies and stuff, and he's just always a hilarious guy. And it doesn't surprise me that he's over there on the sideline and that he would feel comfortable enough to go up to Mike Macdonald and give him a back massage and congratulate him on his defense and tell him what a good job he's doing. And he might be the only type of player that could get away with doing that. Mike Macdonald did say he does enjoy having some of the old players around and having them in the organization. So that is cool to see because, again, remember, this offseason, they took some pictures down in the lobby or something, and so many people got upset over that they were like, they're getting rid of, they're trying to like erase the only championship team that we have, whatever, overreaction, right? So this was good to see, and I'm sure all the fans out there enjoyed seeing Marshawn and that little entertaining moment. Let's see here, what else was going on in this game? So that basically was the first quarter. In the second quarter, some other things I noticed. So defense again, just flying around, not just flying to the ball when somebody is running or when somebody makes a catch. They're flying to the ball when it's still in the air. Everybody's like, when they see that ball in the air, everybody's trying to get to it, and that helped them get an interception to prevent a touchdown. Unfortunately, Julian Love there intercepted it on the 1-yard line and went out of bounds there. And again, this offensive line, oh my gosh, it's going to be a very up and down, emotional affair watching this group this season. It feels like, just based on the first game. So what happens here? Of course, we get a safety because there's holding. Again, I'm not sure about the play call there. Doing a bootleg in your own end zone. I get you're trying to move the line and the quarterback so that you're trying to prevent a safety, but you also got to remember your player personnel, and maybe they can't do that, and clearly they couldn't, because they end up having to hold here just to prevent the sack because they're getting beat. But that you end up giving the safety anyways for holding in the end zone. But again, that defense, man, they after the safety, boom, they stop him. But then what happens? Oh my gosh, D. Williams, he muffs the punt. He muffs the punt, and that gives the ball up to the Broncos inside the 10. But this defense, again, they hold up. Again, yeah, we're going up against a rookie quarterback, but to hold your opponent to a field goal when they're starting the ball inside the 10, that's impressive. Again, this offensive line continued to struggle. Geno Smith was actually able to take advantage of it on one play, though, here in the second quarter, because Broncos decided to be overly aggressive with their pass rush on one play. Geno recognized that the middle of the field was entirely open, and my goodness, did this man run as fast as I've ever seen him run. I thought they were joking about Geno Smith getting faster this offseason and being the fastest guy on this team. But man, on this 30-yard run or whatever, I can't remember the yardage now, but whatever the yardage was that he ran for this touchdown, after the line was going to break down if he didn't take off and start running. But again, the pass rush was so overly aggressive, it did allow him to take off, run, and get in there for the touchdown, which was amazing to see. And then just the rest of this quarter, the defense, they were allowing nothing. Until, of course, we get in a situation where the ball is punted to us, and they are able to stop the ball on the 1. So, again, what happens? The offensive line can't block well enough. Charbonnet can't even get out of the end zone before he's tackled. He's like a couple yards deep into the end zone when they make contact with him. He almost got out of the end zone. He got the ball back to the line of the end zone, but didn't get it across. And that was just an amazing feat just to do that, based on how bad the blocking was on that play. So we give up another safety, and give up those 2 points, and then have to kick the ball. And again, thankfully, we only gave up a field goal. Thanks to the way how awesome this defense was playing. But again, throughout this entire first half, it was apparent that this offensive line was, not up to snuff. George Fant gets hurt, so we were already missing your star, Abe Lucas. Then Fant gets hurt, so now you're down to Stone Forsythe. Like, it's not good. I do have worries, but yeah, that was the first half. Look good. I mean, it's apparent that we're gonna need our punt returns or kick returns. They're gonna have to just be returned. Usually, and actually, Mike Macdonald kind of talked about this in the post game. They were actually talking about something when the D. Williams muffed punt catch. But he started talking a little bit about, like, they're gonna talk about their philosophy for returning punts and kicks, depending on where the ball is kicked in. And to me, he's just gonna have to say, hey, if the ball's not going into the end zone, catch that ball and run it, because we cannot be pinned inside the 5-yard line, because this offensive line right now, they do not look like they're going to be able to handle having to block on their own goal line, without I'm just going to be if we're ever inside of our own 5, I am going to be worried about giving up sacks or tackles for losses, and eventually giving up a safety. So return those kicks, return those punts, so that we don't have to deal with that. Let's see here. Into the second half, man, that defense again, it came out on fire. The 12s were on fire as well coming out in that second half. I think they could sense, like, hey, this defense is looking like it could be something special. And yeah, the 12s are fired up. They forced a delay a game. This rookie quarterback, he can't hear what's going on when you're in our stadium. And then that's helping our defense out. Our defensive line. Oh man, they were really bothering Knicks here in the second half. They were getting a ton of pressure. Again, I really love the multiple looks that Mike Macdonald was calling throughout this game, and just making it confusing and hard to figure out where pressure was coming from for Bo Nix and for the offensive linemen. That's a key part, is the offensive linemen don't know where the pressure is coming from our defense, so they're not sure where they're supposed to be blocking or where to block from. You could tell a few of these plays where there's plays where we didn't end up with sacks, but got really good pressure, where an offensive lineman just missed blocking one of our guys because they were confused. They're starting taking a step one direction. That player's not rushing, the player's rushing from the other side, and just that little bit can be the difference. So again, that's why I really like the way Mike Macdonald. It's not a new scheme. It's not different from a scheme that we used before, but the way he's so aggressive about disguising what he's doing. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't, have that many people up on the line and then have to drop as far back as they're dropping, because it can be really hard to cover when you have to do that. But that, I guess I should say, is one thing that I will come away with and say, hey, I had real big worries about our linebackers, but at the very least, I can say they're not going to be a liability, which is more than I can say the last couple of years. If our linebackers can be able to cover as well as they did in this game, and are going to be able to read and react as well as they did in this game, I think they'll be an all right group, and we won't have to worry about it. Again, I was very worried. I can admit that, but after watching today, I'm feeling, hey, that's pretty good. That'll be solid. Let's see here. Later on in this quarter, the Seahawks, they forced a fumble. Jerome Baker, again, the linebacker, recovers it. K9, what an amazing day for K9 today. I've not always been the most impressed with K9, but with how bad the offensive line was today, I have to be impressed. He was, he was explosive. He was finding creases. He looked great, especially in this third quarter. He had that rushing TD, and then just in general, he had a really great quarter in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, we had Zach Charbonnet getting in there, and this was a great play call by Ryan Grubb. This is what I like to see. I heard Lofa Tupu, mention this in a podcast recently, and he was talking about how emotion causes emotion, right? So the idea is you put your players in motion, and it makes the defense have emotion. They get confused, and that any sort of emotion, change of emotion, might give you that little bit of advantage. And Ryan Grubb, you could tell, he's going to have a lot more, dynamic plays where players are in motion, going from one side to the other, like in motion as the ball is being hiked. Going out in motion in flowing across the field in a way we didn't see the last couple of years. And with Zach Charbonnet here, it was a great way having your receivers pull the defenders towards the middle of the field while having your running back kind of sneak out and run that wheel route, so he's out there on his own and score that 30-yard touchdown. I thought that was great, and I'm really glad to see that, because again, we didn't see anything like that the last couple of years with the coordinator we had. You just didn't see that kind of play calling. You saw very vanilla stuff, and Ryan Grubb, wasn't vanilla, and that was great. Again, throughout the rest of this quarter, yeah, the defense, they were just continuing to be excellent. Reek Woolen got that interception. Oh my goodness, that was an amazing play. Again, Mike Macdonald talked about this after the game in the press conference as well. Just like there's not very many players who can make a cover like that, running all the way across the field, on the route like that, and then get under the receiver to get in front and then make an interception. That there's a reason why, even though us as fans here, because we saw him play every game and we feel like, oh man, he wasn't up to snuff with tackling and it wasn't a great year for him. There was a reason why he was still voted in the top 100 players in the NFL by his peers. I mean, the man can cover like nobody else and gets his first interception of the season. And yeah, with Woolen out there, with Witherspoon out there, Love out there, we're going to be getting a lot of interceptions this season, I think. We're getting towards the end of the game. The pace picks up, and Bo Nix finally does put together a pretty good drive, and then he's able to rush it in for a TD. But it wasn't anything that looked concerning. And then, of course, we go out there with our offense, and we're able to close it out. Geno Smith gets a pass to Tyler Lockett, one-handed catch, and that's the game winner. That gets you in position where you're able to get into victory formation and win this game again, 26-20. It was a good game to watch. It was fun. Let's talk a little numbers from this game. Geno Smith was 18 completions and 25 attempts today for 171 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was sacked twice for 13 yards, but again, these were not sacks that I would put on Geno. These were definitely the problems of the offensive line, but that was good enough for an 87.2 rating. And then let's look at this. Kenneth Walker III, K9, 20 carries, 103 yards, 5.2 yard average, 1 touchdown. Yeah, if we're gonna be playing well enough to get Kenneth Walker 20 carries a game, 100 yards, we're gonna win those games. Those games we're gonna win. Then Zach Charbonnet himself, he had 8 carries. Geno Smith carried it 4 times, 32 carries in total. Again, there was 25 passes in total. So I know a lot of people felt like, oh well, Ryan Grubb is coming over here. We watched the Washington offense. Maybe people watched him when he was at Fresno State. People are feeling like, oh man, we're just gonna be passing a ton. I think this is still gonna be a balancing. This is still the NFL. You need that running game to really open up that passing game. If we keep getting performances like this, I think we're all going to be very happy. With how the running game is going to help out the passing game. And speaking of that passing game, today, Tyler Lockett again, 6 receptions for 77 yards. Made that catch to ice the game. That was amazing. Charbonnet had that 1 catch for the 30-yard touchdown. Metcalf, 3 receptions today for 29 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 2 catches for 19 yards. Man, I was really hoping he was going to have a big game here. I was thinking JSN's going to have a big game, and that's going to help Tyler Lockett down the line. But no, Tyler Lockett, he was still the man in this game. We talk about him being the old man on the team now and whatnot, but he's still playing like he's a top guy. But yeah, DK Metcalf, being covered by the top guy all game long. You knew that was going to be a tough battle, and you knew somebody else was going to have to step up, and Tyler Lockett was the guy to do it. So again, that's good to see. That's still, if there's a team that decides, hey, we're going to double DK, or we're going to shadow him with our best corner all game long, it's nice to know that Tyler Lockett still has that in him, that he can still be the man. And then I just really like the way that played out. And then we'll see. I still think JSN is going to have a big year this year. Again, that offensive line, though, that's going to be the thing that holds back any of these receivers. Let's see here, and then defensively, Julian Love had 12 tackles. Dotson had 10. Witherspoon 7 with a pass deflection. Dawson a pass deflection. Woolen had 2, of course. Woolen and Love both had those interceptions. It was a good game for the defense. Again, just great team defense. That defensive line looked good. It looked good. It looked like it's going to be a strong unit. And yeah, with the way they're going to be disguising what that defensive line is doing as well, I think it's really going to help. It's going to help these players perform their best. Like, again, Mafe, did he get a ton of sacks? No, he got 1. And then he still was able to get 2 other tackles for loss. He got 2 other hits on the quarterback. Hall had 3 quarterback hits. Leonard Williams had 4. So, where the pressure is getting there this season so far in game 1. And again, if it continues like that, I think this is going to be. This defense is gonna, we're gonna get back to an era where, like I said, if this defense can just play to the average, to be an average defense, I think this team will be really good. If I'm watching this first game, I'm gonna say this team could be above average, and then we'll see how far this team can really go. It's gonna be a fun, exciting year. But yeah, let me know, what did you think of this first game? How excited are you to get the first game under the belt and get a win in the first game? What did you think of the play calling by Mike Macdonald for defense? What did you think of that play calling by Ryan Grubb on offense? Is there anything that you leave this game still concerned about? Again, for me, it's the offensive line. Or is there anything for you, like me, where you are feeling much better about it? Like, again, to me, I'm feeling much better about the linebackers now that I've actually seen them on the field. Because, again, remember, that was my big worry. It was like, okay, we didn't go out and pay guys big money. We didn't, these guys weren't wanted by a lot of other teams, obviously, because we just got them on one-year deals and didn't give them big money. And then throughout the offseason, they were injured and not practicing. It's like, okay, how is this going to go? And it turned out like it's going good. So, yeah, let me know if there's anything that you came out of this feeling less worried about. All right, and yeah, this was a great game, and leave those comments, subscribe to the show on YouTube, follow on Spotify or anywhere else you can get podcasts. Leaving 5-star ratings, leaving reviews, all that stuff helps the show grow and get noticed. So I really appreciate any of that. And I want to say thanks for listening to the Seattle Sports Show, where we watch legends awaken. So take cover, because with the sea of sound, you will see us rise to reign supreme and win forever.